Sometimes an entire industry can get turned on its head in just a matter of days. And we just lived through one of those weeks for artificial intelligence. It was a completely chaotic flood of new announcements, some pretty big blunders, and a few breakthroughs that honestly have set the stage for a whole new era of AI. So let's just dive in and break down what on earth just happened. It really all started with this one simple but kind of chilling statement from OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman. For months, he'd been building up the hype for their next big model, GPT-5, creating this just massive wave of anticipation for whatever was coming next. He was basically telling the world, get ready. And look, this wasn't your typical product hype. This wasn't like a new phone or a new app. OpenAI was framing this launch, the launch of GPT-5, as a genuinely monumental event for all of humanity. I mean, just think about that comparison for a second. It's absolutely staggering. Altman wasn't just trying to sell a better chatbot here. He was straight up suggesting that his company had created a technology with the same power to change the world as the atomic bomb. He even talked about this moral dread, questioning if it was even responsible to let this thing out into the wild. And just in case anyone missed the point, the company posts this: the Death Star from Star Wars. The message here is not subtle. The implication was totally obvious. GPT-5 is about to show up and just obliterate the competition. It's a planet-destroying superweapon for the AI world. The hype was at a total fever pitch. So that brings us to the real question, right? After you've compared your new product to nuclear weapons and the Death Star, what could you possibly deliver that wouldn't feel like, well, a letdown? Okay, so launch day, August 7th. The world finally got to see what was inside the box. OpenAI called GPT-5 a doctoral-level expert. Let's dig into what that actually meant, at least on paper. Okay, I know, that's a lot of numbers, but here's the gist of it. It's way smarter, especially when it comes to complex reasoning and writing code. It's also much, much less likely to just make stuff up, and it's a lot more efficient. One of the really big innovations is this built-in thinking mode, where the AI just automatically kicks into a deeper gear for hard problems. Kind of like how you or I might stop and really think before answering a tough question. And then you see this pricing, and their whole strategy just clicks into place. By making their models way cheaper than their competitors, OpenAI was sending a crystal clear message. We don't just want to have the best model. We want to be the platform, the one that every single developer builds on. But then reality came crashing in. The perfect, world-changing launch that OpenAI had promised started to fall apart. And it all began with one very, very misleading chart. So during the launch event, they put this graph up on screen. It shows a coding benchmark. But look at it. Just look. The bar for 69.1% is tiny compared to the bar for 74.9%. It makes a pretty small 5-point jump look like this massive revolutionary leap forward. And yeah, the AI community noticed immediately. And here's the difference side by side. On the left, you've got the original, hyped-up chart. On the right, the corrected one that they released later. It tells a completely different story, doesn't it? I mean, the improvement is still there, it's real, but it's incremental, not exponential. And when you've been promising a nuclear-level event, this was a huge unforced error. The official explanation from Sam Altman was basically, oops, our bad, it was human error. He said the team was just completely exhausted from working all night to prep the launch, and they messed up the chart. But for a lot of people, the damage to their credibility, it was already done. And you can see the impact in cold, hard numbers. This is from Polymarket, which is a site where people bet real money on what's going to happen in the future. The odds of OpenAI having the best AI model by the end of 2025 were literally cut in half. It dropped from 36% down to just 17%, almost overnight. The hype had officially backfired. But here's the thing, this story isn't just about OpenAI. Because while the whole world was watching them fumble their big launch, their biggest rivals were launching these strategic and, in one case, truly mind-bending counteroffensives. So get this. 2 days before the GPT-5 launch, Google DeepMind unveiled something completely different. A world model, they called Genie 3. And this is not an AI that just describes the world in text. It's an AI that actually builds one. You give it a single prompt, and it generates a whole playable, interactive 3D environment. This is a fundamentally different kind of technology. So here's basically how it works. You give it a prompt, something like a watercolor world filled with friendly dragons. It then builds that world, and you can actually move around in it, like you're in a video game. But the really wild part is something Google calls world memory. If you walk out of a room and then come back in, the room is still there, exactly as you left it. The AI remembers and understands the space and has a memory of the world it created. So why is this such a big deal? Well, a world model is seen as a critical, foundational step toward artificial general intelligence, or AGI. For an AI to get truly smart, it needs to have a model of how the real world works. Cause and effect, physics, the fact that objects still exist even when you can't see them. By building these little simulated worlds, the AI can learn all those rules for itself, which could unlock incredible advances in things like robotics.
And this table really shows you the new state of play. All of a sudden, it's not about one company being way out in front anymore. It's a whole landscape of specialists. You've got OpenAI's GPT-5 as the powerful all-rounder, the generalist. Then Anthropic's Claude is the expert coder. Elon Musk's Grok is the unfiltered, spicy provocateur. And now, Google is the world builder. The race has fractured into totally different lanes.
So when you put it all together, what's the real takeaway from this completely wild week? It's not that GPT-5 was a failure. It really wasn't. It's that the entire landscape of AI has just fundamentally shifted under our feet. We have officially moved past the time when one company and one AI model just dominated the entire conversation. We are now living in a multipolar world, a true AI war with multiple superpowers, and each one is carving out its own unique and powerful territory. The competition is just way fiercer and way more interesting than it's ever been. In talking about their new world model, Google DeepMind put out this fascinating quote. Move 37 is a reference to this legendary move that their AlphaGo AI made against the world champion Lee Sedol. It was a move so creative, so completely alien that no human grandmaster would have ever thought of it. It was a sign of a truly new kind of intelligence. So what Google is saying here is that even with this incredible world-building AI, they haven't had that beyond human moment yet. And that kind of leaves us with one last mind-bending thought to chew on. We just saw an AI that can generate a persistent, interactive reality from nothing but a simple prompt. And it makes you wonder, if an AI can now build entire worlds, how can we be so sure that we aren't already living in one? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.